Hello, and welcome back to the Self-Love Archives podcast. My name is Julia Salvia. I'm your host, and I'm so excited to welcome a special guest today. My beautiful friend, Jaina, is here, and I'm so excited to introduce you guys to her. We're going to be talking all things self-love today, and I'm super excited. I feel like I said that already, but I am really excited.
You did say that, but I love the enthusiasm.
I'm excited to have you here. Hi, Jaina. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you to the moon and back. Really, I'm so excited, as we've said, for you to be here. So please tell everyone who you are, what your name is, and where they can find you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jaina. As Julia has already said, you can find me at Jaina Azalea on Instagram and TikTok. I am I guess you can say, lifestyle creator over there. I try to do a lot of mid-size fashion and beauty content with the overarching message of self-love, which I think that's why I'm here. Over there. And then I also have my brand Diosa, which I recently launched and kind of am navigating that whole world of being a brand owner, and that also is centered around self-love. So I would assume that too is why I'm here.
You're just here because you're a great person.
I just love self-love.
Me too. So I want to really jump into your self-love journey and how you got to just where you are today and what you think just the most important parts of that self-love journey were for you up until this point.
Yeah. Journey. I like to say like journey.
Yeah.
And I say that a lot too because
Journey.
When I talk about it, I'm like journey. Mm-hmm. Like I say like big bold letters because I don't know if there ever will be an end to this journey. Mm-hmm. But I definitely have reached a point where I can look back and be very proud. So I will say a lot of it started when, I guess like we can all say, like I was really young and I was never a thin child. I was chubby. I literally was talking the other day and I remember I grew up in the Bronx, and so I would go to these like really big, I guess they were like discount clothing stores. Mm-hmm. And I remember being with my two cousins who were more petite, and we would spend a lot of time with my grandmother, and she would take us and she would like buy my two cousins like matching clothes. And then I kid you not, we would have to go to a clothing section that was labeled husky.
No.
Yeah. And I don't know why. That was like a memory I unlocked the other day.
Yeah.
And I had just like blocked that out for literal years. But I guess that's kind of like the origin of like where honestly my body issues started, because I never really realized like, wow, like I was really being ostracized for my size from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like husky.
Yeah. like before you even realized it.
I was in kindergarten. I'm like kindergarten and my grandma's buying husky sized clothes for girls. What is that?
It's like so funny, but it's really not. Like when you get to I think it's just the word. Like I've never heard of someone use the word husky.
Yeah. No, but I like remember it. Like I can see the store and I can see the sign. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, why can't I just like shop in the other section? Mm-hmm. But it literally was because like that was the only place where like the clothes would fit me. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like actually bullied like in elementary school by kids because I was chubbier. Mm-hmm. And one pivotal moment for me, and I made the funniest like story time on TikTok about this, was I had a crush in the 3rd grade on a 4th grade boy. Mm-hmm. I always liked them a little bit older.
Same. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit older. And I remember I had this friend, and she went and she ran up to this boy, and she's like, "Oh, that's my friend. She has a crush on you." And he looked at her. She goes, "Her? She's fat." I think his name's like Brian or something. So Brian.
Fuck you, Brian.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Brian. Look at me now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I literally remember that. But like as a 3rd grade girl, that was like traumatizing. Mm-hmm. And then, so there were like all these like little things that just like would build and build and build, where like I would just continue to not feel pretty and not feel worthy. You know what I mean? So like it was like that was that moment, and then it was moving out of the Bronx and living in a predominantly white neighborhood and being one of 3 minority kids in my grade, and just being like, why does no one look like me?
Yep.
And not only that, why do no boys like me, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I can't blame them for not liking me, right? Because all they know is to like people that look like them.
Yep.
Right? But why am I in high school and now no boys like me, right?
Yep.
So that was a whole thing.
It's like you're just constantly getting ostracized. Like you're constantly like the outer person. And that is not, even if it's like you don't realize it in that moment, I think mainly because just our brains are so young, but it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And then it all just clicks.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck. Wow, that's why. Like that's because it just kept happening over and over again, that you weren't chosen, essentially. And that it was always like you were the one that was different because you had to go in a different like section of clothes versus even people that were within your own family.
Yeah.
That's
It's like I was either a different size of clothes, or I was a different color, or like I wasn't getting attention. And in my head, I'm like, is it because I was a different color? Is it because I'm a different size? Or is it because at that time, like, we were living in a low income housing, and that honestly where I was living was a very wealthy neighborhood, and the only reason we lived there was because we were living in essentially the projects of that neighborhood. And I was like, is it because we're poor? Like, you know what I mean? So I think it was just always that feeling of not feeling like I belonged, and also just like not knowing like what is the reason. And I know now a lot of that too is just like the consumption of media and materials that we were reading, right? Like I think back to like a lot of these, like, were you a reader? Like
I was a magazine reader.
Okay, magazines.
Yeah.
I also like would read a lot of like those teen romance books.
Yes.
How?
Me too.
How unreasonable was that? Like that was so
They were
unrealistic.
fucked up.
Yeah.
They were like abusive in the teen romance.
Yeah.
And like they're making you romanticize abusive relationships in like the books.
Yes.
I remember so many of them. Like the guy was always like this badass that was super hot and like would put the girl in positions that were like uncomfortable, but like they fell in love.
Yeah. So you're reading all this stuff, you're seeing all this like all these magazines and all this imagery, so you're like, I don't look like any of these photos. I'm not having any of these high school experiences I'm reading about, which also they're books, right?
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't know that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what is happening?
You're like, someone wrote this off a true story.
Yeah, that's
and
what
I'm
you
not
really
a part
think.
of the true story.
You're like, my life is nothing like that. But you're like, why? So I would say then if we fast forward a little bit, I ended up moving to Jersey to a more diverse neighborhood, and boys, of course, started liking me. Why? Because they were Latino boys, and Latinos love Latinos, and you know what I mean? Like, but again, like, you know, the stuff from the past still sits with you. And then that's when I entered a really toxic and awful relationship for a really, really long time. And that pretty much brought me to like my lowest low for like 7 years. I was in that relationship.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked a lot about it. And I remember I try to like not talk too much about it at this point, because I kind of had an epiphany where I was like, I think there's certain things that when you keep talking about them, although I want to educate people on the matter, it also gives power to the other person.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're treading this fine line about like educating people about that stuff, but also like you don't want to give that person that like energetic power by just like talking about them.
Yeah.
But regardless, like that was a whole other like, now I was low.
Yeah.
So I would say I really started kind of climbing up out of that was when I got out of that relationship. Because he was also one to kind of feed on my childhood insecurities, right? So it's like he knew what had been built up, right? We just like went through my history, and like he knew what had been built up all that time. He knew I felt fat. He knew I felt ugly. He knew I felt undesired. And it was like any sort of ounce of power that he could have to like use that against me, he would, right? And that was like his manipulation tactic, and it worked, unfortunately, for a really, really long time. But we're safe now. I'm out of it.
Yes.
I'm engaged.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest parts about that was taking my power back, right? When I realized that one of the biggest things was that I allowed people and things and the media and all these outside sources to like dictate what I felt about myself. You know what I mean? And I think that was a power that I let them have.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a big part of like the self-love journey,
Because
right?
no one can take your power unless you allow them to.
Right?
No one can take your light unless you allow them to.
So it's like what a weird situation to be in, where like it's like you physically are allowing these outside sources to like make these decisions and like kind of like opinions and dictate like who you are.
Yep.
You know? So of course, you know, like I'm in a better place now, and I'm probably more accepting of myself than I've ever been. But I think sometimes you still have to, you know, your inner child's still there, your inner teen.
Yep.
They come out every now and then, and you got to kind of deal with that a little bit. I actually was listening to another podcast the other day, and I sent it to you. I don't know if you listened to it.
Not yet.
But there was...
It's been a week.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
It's okay. You have time. But there was one of the guys on there, he said something very profound that honestly, like, I knew I needed to hear that in that moment. But he was saying how through life, there's like, what we don't realize we do is when there's things we don't want to deal with, and we kind of like brush past it, we think we're just like throwing it away, but really like your shadow self like picks it up and holds it on for later.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why we end up having to do so much shadow work. So like,
it's kind of like sweeping things under the rug in a way.
Literally.
Like you're gonna go back cleaning the house, and like the more you sweep things under the rug, the bigger the rug's like gonna get, and you're eventually gonna have to clean it.
Yeah.
So that's like the same thing. Like
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the point I'm at now, where it's like I've built myself back up, but I'm realizing there's still a lot of like shadow work to do.
Yeah.
That's like resurfacing things that I thought I didn't have to deal with anymore, or that I thought I dealt with.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, here we go. It's coming back up.
That's kind of something that Karen, we have the same psychic. We like to talk about it a lot. Karen said to me the other day, she's like, I'm picturing you in this big dress, and it has so many pockets, and all of those pockets are filled. And what happens when you're wearing a dress and the pockets are all filled with something? It's weighing you down. Yeah. So you have to empty out the pocket and, you know, see what it is, deal with whatever it is, or decide to completely let it go, or fix it up, whatnot, put it away somewhere else, or put it back in the pocket if it belongs there. So that's kind of where I'm at too, like just picking everything out of the pocket and like taking a look at it and saying, is this shadow work that I have to do? Is this something that just I need to just let go of? Is it something that I need to finalize and complete? Or is it something that just needs to be thrown away?
Do you remember when everyone was like Marie Kondoing their life?
I need to Marie Kondo my life.
Yeah.
I need to literally and figuratively
Does this serve me and make me happy?
Yes.
Yes. I need to let it go. That's what you need to do.
Marie Kondo. I love you, Marie Kondo. I genuinely was looking at a bunch of cabinets before you guys came over.
It's time. That's a sign.
Well, some of these
figuratively and literally.
Some of these cabinets really need to be cleaned out.
Oh my God.
So what led you to this part of your journey of self-love? And I'm proud of you for where you're at today.
Thanks.
Ooh, that makes me emotional. That made me emotional when I said it to you last time too.
No, don't cry because I'll cry.
I'm not going to cry. I have tears in my eyes, but I'm not going to cry. What led you to creating Diosa? And tell everybody what Diosa is, what you're sharing with the world, and what specifically made you choose like that product.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, the reason I feel so called to just share self-love, right, is because I have always felt a higher purpose to just like educate and share my story. It's just always been that way.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's been. I've been doing it since before I even had a following on TikTok. Like I was just posting, and I felt the second I started healing after leaving my last relationship, I was posting about it because I was like, if there's anybody that needs to hear this, they should hear this, right? And so I've kind of just always taken that approach because the way I see it, social media, first of all, is so filled with a bunch of people that are trying to sell this unrealistic way of life. And I try to like remind myself, because even I get caught up in it, right?
Yeah.
Like people are sharing their best moments. That's all they're sharing. Even me sometimes, right? Like
it's like the constant highlight reel.
Yeah. So like there's just like, it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah.
So I try to remember like, I want to be as realistic as possible, because if I could be what I wish I had when I was a teenager, you know what I mean? At least I'm doing a good job doing that.
You literally saying everything that like even I say to myself. I'm like, if I just had who I am today when I was this age, or when I was that age, or when I was going through this, or when I was going through that, maybe I wouldn't be in, maybe my journey would have looked a lot different. It would have looked so much different than what it is today if I had even just someone. And that's what goes through my head whenever I'm sharing anything that a lot of people might feel uncomfortable to hear. I'm like, someone needs to hear this, because they need to, at the very least, know that they aren't going through it alone. Yeah. At the very least.
Yeah. That's totally it. It's like, I want it to feel accessible and attainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want it to feel real. That's why even like something as shallow, right? Let's say like as fashion, right? Because fashion is shallow.
Yeah.
It's still, I try to approach it at like an attainable and a realistic frame of mind. Because you have these fashion influencers that are posting stuff that I'm like, yeah, that's a beautiful outfit, but how many people are wearing this outfit, right? So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
But as far as what Diosa is, I wanted to kind of create an extension of just who I am as a person, and how can I continue to share that feeling of just like self-love. And the word I like to use is ethereal. And that is just like,
I get that vibe.
Yeah.
I like that. That's perfect. Aligning.
And that's just like always like the feeling that I want it to be, right? And I know sometimes I'm like, how do you translate ethereal? Like, right? Like, what a weird concept.
Yeah.
But I created the Goddess Glow Oil as my first product because it not only is a nourishing and healing product for your skin, which I think is kind of like a very like symbolic thing, right? Because we're all being healed on the inside as we go through our self-love journey. But it also is like, it makes you glisten really beautifully. Like it has like,
it's ethereal.
Yeah, it makes
it's
you
like
look
this ethereal glow. When
yeah.
I think of the word ethereal, I think of like angelic and like sparkly, and like I think of everything that Diosa is. So it's on the right track.
Yeah.
It's on the right track in my brain.
Thanks.
It makes sense to me.
So I do want to eventually, like, I'm still navigating like what I want it to become, right? And I think that's the hardest thing with any brand, because a brand can be anything you want it to be. Yeah. And I think that's scary.
It's like too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I'm like,
it's like, it's
so
kind of
much
like journey. It's like, like almost like overwhelming sometimes, because you're like, I want it to go this way. What about this? What about this? Like,
I'm like,
too
I
many
have
options.
too much power in my hands right
Too many options. It's like when someone gives you the choice of what you want to eat, but they don't give you any choices. They're just like, what do you want to eat? And like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I do just know I want it to be a beauty and lifestyle brand. Yeah. Like, I want people to be, when they think like self-love and self-love journey and a place, like the way I want to be a safe space on the internet, I want this brand to feel like a safe space for people. Yeah. And I just, that's all I know, and that's all I'm trying to navigate, and that's what I hope it grows into.
I mean, it's already going well from what I see. It makes sense. Everything is on its way.
I hate being like this woo-woo spiritual person, but you get it. I'm
a woo-woo spiritual
I'm like, yeah, I just like, I'm working on it and I'm doing my things intuitively and I'm just like, whatever.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, and it's just like how it's going
Yeah.
and I'm happy with it.
It's like other people pulling out a whole like, okay, this is quarter 1, this is quarter 2,
Yeah.
this is quarter 5, this is quarter 10, and we're just like,
I'm doing what feels right.
Yeah, I'm doing what feels right. How it's gonna go. It's just gonna go.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
And
see
I have
how
all
it
the
comes.
trust that it will.
And it's
It'll
gonna come to
happen.
fruition. Mm-hmm. I love that. So with the Goddess Glow oil, do you see any like slight direction of like what it would go to, like your next like product, or even I know you have like the cutest pullover and hats too. Do you see like the next thing maybe?
I'm waiting for a sample to come in. I am launching another like wearable product, like not a beauty product. So that's soon to come. It's really cute, but I'm waiting for the sample to come in. Because those do really well. People like to wear things.
Yeah.
People like when people buy clothing from me.
I mean, it makes sense because you share clothing.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing like something like that, but I'm really big on like matching sets. So it has to be a matching set.
What if I told you this was a matching set?
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Yeah. Oh, we're sometimes on the same wavelength. It's kind of weird.
It freaks me out.
It kind of freaks me out too. And I think the world needs to know Jaina and I are on the same wavelength sometimes, to the point where I'll be thinking about doing something or thinking about something, and either she's already in the process of doing it and like we haven't talked to each other about it. It hasn't happened. And this could be something as small as like a restaurant that we want to try, or something that we're building. And it's like either one or the other. Like you're thinking about it or actively doing it, and then I'm doing it and you're thinking about it. It's the craziest thing.
It's creepy.
It really is actually very creepy.
It's
and
really
sometimes
creepy.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I think it's what we talked about earlier. We were talking about Jaina's astrology, and you have a north node in Libra, and your Libra's in your third house of communication. And I have a north node in my third house as well, but mine's in Scorpio, and the north node is essentially where you're going in life. So it makes sense that like every time we talk, like where we're going or like what we're working on kind of like aligns, but it's always different.
Yeah.
Which I find so interesting. Like we said before, mine's just a very Scorpio direction and yours is a very Libra direction, and it's just really cute.
Mine's always like flirty and fun.
Yeah, and mine's just like really deep. Like they're both really aesthetic, but like mine's just like wants to like hit you in the gut with like some tears, happy tears, maybe some sad ones, but that's literally what it is.
No, that's
really exciting. That's super exciting. I'll be buying.
You don't even know what it looks like.
No, I don't, but I'm buying it. So you're getting married soon.
I am. Indeed.
And I'm going to the wedding, and I'm so excited. I think I'm just so excited. I told you, I'm so excited because you're a creator, and I know how creative you can be, and I'm just excited to see how things are put together at the wedding, and I know that it's going to be just so much more meaningful knowing you as a person in regards to like all the details and just how it all comes together versus honestly like your classic church wedding. Yeah. No offense to church weddings, but
no offense to church weddings.
No offense to church weddings at all. I just think that it's really not the person, it's the church that doesn't allow you to actually create the wedding into what you want it to be. So I'm just excited in general to see how you put everything together. What are you most excited about?
For the wedding?
Yes.
That's really funny. I mean,
for it to be
my
over.
My brain was like, for it to be over.
I was like, my brain said it. I was like, oh, that wasn't a great question because you're probably going to say for it to be over.
No, honestly, I'm really excited to see it all put together. Yeah. Because I've seen, obviously, like I've been collecting items.
Where are they going?
They're in storage. Oh I literally had to get a storage unit for like items.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. here's a tip, a bride tip for any brides out there, possible future bride, who knows?
Writing it down. Mental note.
A pro of, or to save money on your wedding day, sometimes it is nice to like provide your own things. So like, for example, like my florist is literally only providing flowers. Sometimes florists will do like candles and flowers, and they'll take care of the whole centerpiece.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to do like candles and flowers. I did that, and I actually probably did save a lot of money, right? I think I'm also working with a floral designer who's fairly new, and I will say, because I am a creator, I will acknowledge that I also am getting some deals on some stuff, right?
No issue with that at all. I don't know why people shit sometimes on that. I think there's nothing to shit on.
Well,
like,
I think
if it's aligning, why not?
Yeah, I think sometimes also some creators aren't transparent about it.
Yeah.
And that's when people get like
That's
weird.
when I think that's the thing, whether whether it's wedding or not. Like be just be transparent about it. It's
I will say I have gotten a couple discounts on some stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've been collecting things. But because you don't normally know like how many tables you have or things like that until around this point. So we're like 3 weeks out from the wedding, and I had no idea like how many tables were in the reception space, whatever, because you don't know how many people are RSVP.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm going to buy as many candles as possible. Because in my head, I'm like, I'd rather have too many candles than none at all. And I literally was talking to the wedding planner this week, and I was like, okay, I have like 90 something of these, and I have like 90 of these, and I have like 100 and something of these. These are not fake numbers. Like, I have hundreds and hundreds of candles. By the way.
What are you going to do with them?
I'm going to sell them. Like, whatever's not.
Yeah.
Because like the wedding, also like buy from like Facebook groups. The wedding resale market is great.
I've seen a lot of people like selling like old like frames or things that they used. Yeah.
If it's good, just buy it, because who cares? And I had bought 90 floating candles, because in my head I'm like, yeah, that's a great deal. They were a great deal. I got a great deal on them.
But
I asked the wedding planner today, I was like, all right, now that we know how many tables, because, we're doing cocktail style ceremony, right? So there aren't any assigned seats. So you're not caught off guard.
Yeah.
She goes, maybe like 20 or 30.
So you just got 60 extra floating candles.
Yeah.
Just floating around.
I was like, I'm not telling Sean. That was my first thought.
Hopefully he doesn't listen to the podcast.
He's not.
I don't think he's gonna.
I was like, he
the
can't
secret
know.
is safe with us, guys.
He can't know. He will die.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to resell them though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. For like those like moody brides.
Yeah.
When you know how you were like, oh, your house is dark, like a Scorpio?
I even said, I was like, your vibe for your wedding is probably going to be like moody.
My candles are black.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You said that?
I didn't say your candles would be black, but I said moody.
Moody? Yeah.
Like, I definitely pictured your wedding to be moody.
It's moody, all right. So I hope there's some moody brides
and all
out
the guests
there.
are wearing black, so
yeah,
even more moody.
Yeah. If anyone needs 60 floating candles,
give us a call.
You know where to find me.
Well, what about your wedding? What's something like you incorporated into your wedding that I guess would kind of shine through like your personality in regards to like your self-love journey? Because talking about going from this really horrible relationship to the relationship that you have now, that from my eyes is lovely and amazing, and from what you've talked to me and shared with me is just the best. And it's amazing to have the opportunity to like watch you guys grow in love. And what part of that, I guess, transition from just this really not great place to you coming in like this powerful person that you are, do you think is coming through in also your wedding?
Yeah. So, okay. So honestly, like Sean and my relationship is like the best ever. Like I wouldn't trade it for a thing. And it's so crazy. I remember, I forget who I was talking to. It wasn't Karen. It was Kenneth, she was a friend who used to do Reiki on me. She also was very intuitive. And I remember when I like had just moved into Sean's apartment, so things were still kind of like fresh. And she was saying like how this like unexplainable connection I felt from Sean. And I remember I told you that. Like, it was weird.
Yeah,
right?
Like when you first started
after
dating.
our first date, I was like, this could in fact be my husband.
Yeah.
She like was saying how she felt like Sean and I met in the stars. Which is crazy, but I could see that. So depending on how crazy you want to get here, if we're talking about like lifetimes, right? Souls play different roles in different lifetimes for different people. I truly believe this is mine and Sean's first lifetime together, right? And I think that because I hold this like so sacredly, the one thing in our wedding that I guess it resembles that would actually be like our private vows. And I think that isn't something, and again, it's like not something that anybody but us is really gonna witness.
Yeah.
But I think it's like kind of just like the testament that like, I don't need anybody else to like hear that. Like we are we keep like our love so like quiet in a way. You know what I mean? Like, like it's very, like our intimacy is very secretive in a way. You know what I mean? We're not blatantly like making out in front of people. You know what I mean? So I think that like I think that is like kind of like the biggest reflection of just like what that means. It's because like it's such a big and important step for us, but also like it's like so much deeper than that. That like for us, that like first look in the private vows is going to be probably the deepest and most intense part of the whole day.
Yeah.
Because like what everybody else is going to see is going to be like the basic ones.
Yeah.
Sean's cousin's marrying us, and it's literally like, all I have to say is I do. Like literally, we're not even repeating after her. Like it's I do.
Yep. I mean that makes sense that it would be that because you're right. You don't have to share that moment with anyone else because at the end of the day, as I say,
it's not about anybody else.
No, it's not about anyone else except for the both of you. And I think that's also why I'm so excited because I feel like a lot of people unfortunately get so wrapped up in everyone else that their wedding doesn't end up being about them. Yeah. And I think that that's why get married then.
Yeah. I had no problem telling people no.
Good. Fuck them.
Yeah. I know,
kindly.
I know Sean's mom isn't obviously ever seeing this, but
kindly.
She heard no a lot.
That's the position I feel like. I'm like just thinking about all of this wedding stuff because everyone else around me is getting engaged, married, babies, everything. And it's got my mind thinking about it and how it would go and what I would do. And I think a lot of people are going to be hearing some no's. Yeah. And a lot of people are not going to be very happy. And I just don't really care.
I feel like everyone heard no from me. And honestly, I feel like my family has no idea what anything even looks like. Like, people are like, oh, yeah, we'll help. Do you think I asked for help?
No.
I'd rather do it myself.
Yeah. You have complete control. Yeah. Control over everything.
No one has any clue what they're walking into that day.
Surprises for everybody.
Just me. Yeah. Well, not even Sean. I told Sean it's his surprise party.
Has he helped with like anything?
No, he does. He helps.
He does.
Yeah.
He's involved.
He's involved. He's gotten better.
It's a lot. It's just so many little. It's just like a lot of little things, and even when we were talking about it when you were super early on to like your wedding stuff, you got everything done. Yeah. You were like check, but you can't really check every little thing off until right now. Yeah. Because now is when you know exactly how many people are coming. And there's certain things that can't even be booked until like 3 months before sometimes. So.
Well, now is the part that sucks because now it's like all your vendors are coming like, all right, time to pay up.
Have the money.
Where's the rest of the money? Because like making a deposit feels like nothing. A deposit's like $500. Yeah. Which, of course, $500 is money. Right? Yeah. But like.
$500 compared to like $3,000.
Yeah, compared to the rest of the $3K or the $4K that you owe them. You know, that hurts a little. That hurts a little.
Yeah.
So Sean and I have been like, because obviously we're funding our wedding ourselves. And so we have like our account where like we've just been saving for everything. And I literally am like, that money and that number in there, that's not real. Because that balance is probably going to be zero.
We diluted in like 1 week.
February 22nd comes. In another couple weeks, it's going to be zero.
Which I love the date also, 222. 222. I love that.
Well, you know why it's 222, right?
Well, tell me. Tell us.
Because when I started really finding my spirituality, I started seeing angel numbers a lot. And I wasn't fully, this was also, I want to say this was before spiritual talk and like everyone was talking about manifestation, and like I have my own thoughts on that stuff because I think people are a little predatory about that kind of stuff right now.
Yeah.
But I was truly fine. I like to call it my spiritual awakening period because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But I was seeing a lot of angel numbers, and I remember seeing 222 all the time. And I looked it up, and I remember it was like something about love, right? Was like when the first angel popped up, and I was like, maybe I should start dating, because like I was finally feeling open to like maybe start going on dates again.
Yeah.
I had a call with Karen, our psychic, and she kind of was just like, she reaffirmed, she was like, someone made you feel like you were not worthy of love, but you are, and you will find love, but you have to start going on dates.
I literally remember having this conversation with you.
You have to start going on dates, and she was like, because, you know, you have to build your confidence up again. And I feel like if we were to give you like a psychic timeline, you'll meet your husband in 6 months.
I literally remember you calling me. We were talking about it. She's like, Karen said 6 months. And when did it happen after that date? When you talked to Karen that time? How many like months after did you meet Sean?
6 months. And do you know what was even crazier?
What?
Remember, 222 all the time. I think it was our third date. Sean was like, just come over to my house. I'll cook dinner. We'll watch a movie. Chill. I was like, okay, cool. What's your address? His house number, 222.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That was your guides literally saying,
I said, well, if I didn't know already,
here.
This is my husband.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom and stepdad, because like, I also was like not raised in a household where like I could bring guys around. Like I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So like they didn't ever meet. Like Sean was the first guy they met.
Yep.
So my sister likes to joke around, like, because she has like a little boyfriend thing right now. And she was like nervous to bring him around. And she was like, well, not all of us can be you and bring home your husband, like bring home their husband. But so I remember I like was like saying like, hey, I'm talking to this guy. I would like you guys to meet him. And I had told them what Karen said like months prior. And my mom jokingly was like, is this your husband? I said, maybe.
Oh my God.
And
was your maybe really a maybe, or was it like a, I think so?
Yeah, it was like, I think so. Like at that point, and we were only like a couple dates, like maybe talking for 2 months.
I have a video actually from the day that I met Nick of me going into the, I was either I think it was in the bathroom. I had gone to the bathroom right after like our date was over. He was waiting for me to come out of the bathroom. I go in the bathroom, and it was actually the first day I was going to start filming this series because I would go on a lot of dates.
Me this.
I would go on a lot of dates, and I had the craziest experiences on these dates. And I love talking to people. So that's really how I looked at it. I was like, I just want to meet new people and talk to new people and really understand who I am and what I want in a person. So I was at my wit's end though when I went on the date with him. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this series where I film myself before a date and how I'm feeling about it, what my little get ready with me, and then I'm going to film myself after the date. Well, that series never went live because I was in the bathroom, like, literally just, like, I couldn't wipe the smile off of my face. I was like, I literally think I met my husband.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
It's weird.
And people say that all the time, too. Like, you'll know.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll know the first day that you meet. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I've met my husband before, but like, I don't know. I was so sure. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, it's the weirdest thing. And then what I never understood is a lot of people would be like, oh, like love should be easy, right? Or, like it'll be easy. Like real love is easy. And
Yeah.
that was like a lot of like things people would tell me, especially with my last relationship. And like I was just like, I never understood it because obviously like what I thought was love just felt so hard.
Yeah.
And I think now too, like, yes, like love is easy. Like my relationship is very easy, but I think it's also like, it's very easy to also work for. You know what I mean?
Because you
Like,
want to work
it's not
for it.
easy. Like, it's not like we don't have any problems or like there aren't issues or things we have to work through, but like it is so easy to fight for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like work through it, things.
Yep. Even when I absolutely hate Nick's guts.
Yeah.
I'm so pissed at
When
him.
Sean annoys me.
It's
like-
very easy to like just come back together almost in the same way. And I know some people may have not had the same experiences with like siblings or family and whatnot. I know I haven't. But sometimes it's that same feeling that you get with family where it's easy to fight about something and then come back together.
Yeah.
But in a relationship, it might be hard in the sense of it's bringing out everything. Like it's bringing out that shadow part of you more. It's bringing out all the things that you thought were healed that were not healed more. I know I have definitely experienced that after the insurmountable relationships that I've been in that were so bad for me. Going into the relationship with him, it's like all of these things where I was the problem within the problem are coming out, and I'm like, I gotta check myself. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
hold on. But it's still but it's easy to like choose to work on yourself. It's easy to choose to be better, to love harder, and to just love each other.
I think also too, like when you're further along like in that journey of just like recognizing your patterns and what you have to work through, like when you're in a relationship, like you're saying, it's easy to notice like those things.
Yes.
And like correct them, and or even just be able to like talk about them. Like I've gotten really good at like recognizing when there's like Sean will say something or do something that will trigger something, and I know why now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I can be like, hey, like this is making me feel this way and this is why. Like, is there a way that we can maybe adjust that? And he is really amazing about like being very conscious on like not doing that again. You know what I mean? Or approaching the scenarios differently next time, you know? And that's what real partners do.
That's why love is easy.
Yeah. No, literally.
Okay, we're at the most exciting part. I love this because I, of course, have like some questions in my head before anyone comes on the podcast, but these questions, I've still to this day have not looked at all of them for a reason. So we intuitively are going to pick from the, we're not strangers. We're not really strangers. I always forget the not. They are so great. Mm-hmm. And you know what's so funny? I was thinking about this the other day, that they come off to me as if they're just like, in the best way, this extremely creative, smart, like college student posting.
Yeah.
But they do so much that there's no fucking way.
I need to know who's behind that account.
Who's behind it.
Reveal yourself.
It's funny because they probably do all the time and we just don't know who it is.
I know. We're just being ignorant. We could probably just Google it.
Yeah. So we have past, present, and future. Jaina's going to pick a question from each of them and we're going to talk about it. Let's start with I think these are the, level 1 is past. So
Okay, so I'm going here.
Yeah.
These make me think of this like crystal shop I used to go to that had like the little box at the front that would like you'd intuitively like pick a message. You
Wait,
needed.
really? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like fortune cookies, but crystal shop.
Yeah. Wild card. Let go of one thing you don't need anymore.
Oh. What's one thing you don't need anymore? Let go of it right in this very moment.
Oh, this is a hard one. Feeling like I am not good enough for my career. we're letting go of imposter syndrome.
Yep, we're letting it go. That's how I felt this week.
Yeah.
Literally that in a nutshell.
All right.
Yep, we're letting it go. Bye.
Letting it go.
See ya. Goodbye.
See you never.
See ya later. Actually, no. See you never.
Never.
I'll probably see you later.
That's like I was recording stories the other day, and I was like, I said something. I was like, not like I'm insecure. And I was like, I literally looked at the mirror. I was like,
yourself.
I'm insecure.
People they're like, you're the most confident person in the world. Like, oh, what do you mean? Says who?
I said, I'm a liar. I'm a scammer. I'm a fraud.
I'm glad you think that, but and then I sent him a voice note. Me and my voice notes. Yeah, that's really not true.
Yeah, I fooled you all.
I tricked ya. Okay, the next one is number two, which is present. So right now.
Right now, I feel like this is like tarot, but not.
Mm-hmm. That's why I like to not look at them myself, because I'm like, it's kind of like tarot.
What is your way of loving people the wrong way?
Oh.
What's your way of loving people the wrong way?
Like, how do you love people the wrong way?
Yeah, like, do you do anything like unhealthy love people? Any unhealthy? I think I have some.
Oh.
Or I think I have one. I feel like, I don't know if this is, I think sometimes I tend to overcompensate when I'm worried that what I have to say will hurt the person I love's feelings.
So do you like overcompensate in regards to like beating around the bush, or just I'm almost like thinking like sparkles, like adding more info to the hurt rather than bluntly saying it?
Yeah. Like I tend to, but I don't know if that's because like I show, like, for example, we'll use Sean, right? Because I love Sean. He's a very easy example. The people that I love, I will always be very honest with, and I also will always want to like point out if there's things that I think I can help them with, right?
Yeah.
But I think the way that I communicate sometimes can be a little bit hard for people. And I think sometimes, even though Sean has told me he can handle it, I still get worried he can't. So I'll like over pad the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a Virgo tendency, me and my astrology, because Virgos are so hard on themselves. They're like the perfectionists of all perfectionists. And it's funny you say that, because Nick and I do that to each other, but sometimes it comes off more like critical.
Okay.
But it's like we criticize because it's coming from a place of love. So it's not like, it's not like we don't love each other. We love each other. It's like always feeling the need to be like, you have hair on your face, let me fix it for you. Or like, let me fix your shirt.
Okay.
Like being like ever so slightly critical in a way that just like.
So yeah, mine might not be maybe that frequent,
I don't think,
that minimal. Mine will be like really profound and
You're
like really
padding.
deep things. So that's why I'm like.
Yeah.
Cushion this space, because I'm scared how you'll react. So this might rock your world and make you feel like life is ending. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, I think my if I were to answer like this question, like I think mine's just like a little bit lighter in the sense of like, it's like always pointing out something that's wrong, but like coming from a good place.
Okay.
Like coming from a place of love.
Okay.
Like, hey, don't ever wear that shirt with those pants again.
Do you have any love languages that, like, Nick just does not appreciate?
Yes.
Okay.
Touch?
He just doesn't,
he just is not a touchy person.
Okay.
And I'm a touchy person. So, like, I think he always says he loves it when I touch him, but, like, there's so many moments where he's just like, get off of me.
Okay. Mine is, like, mine, too, is touch, but I've recently realized that I guess gifts are a lot higher than I thought they
like
were.
you giving gifts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love buying Sean things. Like it's, and I know he appreciates them, but then every now and then I'll be like, Sean hasn't bought me presents in like ever. And I know that's not his love language, but like, and he'll be like, I do so many things for you. Like he's such he does like actions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he really is so good about like doing actions. But like, I'll be like, I buy you so many things.
Where's mine?
Yeah, like
Can you just like buy me something?
like I just want to know you're thinking about me.
Yes.
When you go to a store or something.
I think we all have like we have love languages that we do ourselves to people, and then ones that we want back. Touch is one of mine that is both.
Yeah.
So I like to touch, but I also like to be touched.
Yeah, that's both mine and Sean's for sure.
And then I also, mine is gifts, but I don't necessarily like receiving gifts. But I like to give gifts too.
Yeah.
And then back towards me though is quality time. Huge. I don't know how much quality time I per se.
I think I might have all the love languages. Is that possible?
I think that too. I do think it's possible. I think that they come in levels.
I'm high maintenance. I have all of them.
I think they come in levels, very similar to like how astrology, like you have all the signs, but each of them kind of sits at a different spot, so that they're all kind of like different levels, so to speak. I think love languages are the same.
Sense. I think words of affirmation used to be a lot higher on my list because of my past relationship.
Yep.
I needed it more.
Yep.
Like in the beginning with Sean. But now I'm like, no, I know this man loves me. Like, you don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
Buy me gifts.
Buy me things. I'll put in a good word. I'll tell Nick
buy me presents.
Tell Sean to buy Jaina more gifts.
He's just going to roll his eyes because I literally will say to his face, buy me presents.
And you know what I say to Nick? Touch me, please. Like, can I have a hug? Like me all day. Can I have a hug? Can I have a hug? Can I have a hug?
Oh my God, no.
Don't hold my hand. Can I have a kiss?
No. I don't even ask. I'm just all over Sean all the time.
It's so funny though because like I don't always ask, trust me. I think I just ask when it's like he's clearly like busy and he does not want me to
get under his skin.
Yes. But he does touch me. It's like it's always back and forth. It's like I'm busy. I'm in like this headspace of like work, and he comes over and wants to touch me. I'm like, seriously? Now you want to touch me?
Oh God.
Okay. We did past, we did present, and let's do future. What does what do the cards have in store for future?
I don't
Jaina?
know. Let's see. All right, this one. What responsibility do you want to take on one day? Could be as simple like I want to be a mom.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be a mom one day. That's it.
It's quite large responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a house first. Need to decorate said house. I want to feel financially secure.
Yeah.
Then I can have a little kid.
Do you think it's going to look like you or Sean first?
Is it bad that I want it to look like me? What does that say about me?
I think that's just your Leo rising.
Am I a narcissist?
I think it's your Leo rising talking, saying that you just want it to look like
I've said that to Sean too, and he looks so hurt when I say that. And he's like, it's because you don't want it to look like me. You think I'm ugly. And I said, no, I don't. I just want the kid to look like me.
I can't. I think that's the first thing I thought of too. Responsibility kid.
Yeah.
I think I'd like the responsibility of a pet first, but
yeah,
that's a responsibility I genuinely would love right now. A child, not so much.
Pets are great. I'll bring Mahina next time.
Yes, please bring her.
Maybe she'll win.
We'll have
Nick
a
over.
podcast. With
Mahina
Mahina
podcast.
Mahina podcast.
We'll do like
ASMR.
Yes,
Mahina
that was what
ASMR.
They have like the TikToks where like the dogs eat like carrots and stuff.
Yes,
and
I've seen those. They put hats on them.
Yeah. She has my dad bought her like a tactical vest. My dad's a cop.
Yeah.
He thinks things like this are cool. So tactical vest, like literally what like army dogs, canines wear, and goggles, like, and she wore them.
No, she didn't.
Yep. So she can wear her goggles.
I need to see this picture. Thank you so much, Jaina, for being here. I appreciate you to the moon and back, really, because this was so great.
Of course. Thanks for having
And
me.
of course, and you'll definitely be back.
Yeah, I'll be back anytime.
I'm gonna force you
I'll
to
live
come
here.
back. Yeah, come.
I live here now.
Tell everybody where they can find you one last time, and where they can find Diosa if they wanted to purchase the new and upcoming things. I'm gonna get there first, but you could try.
So my social media is at Jaina Azalea. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. And then Diosa is at inner.diosa on Instagram, TikTok. And the website is inner-diosa.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Of course, appreciate you.
All right, guys. I'll see you next week, same time, 12 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday. Bye.
Bye.